Boom.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the
And
Truth
another
Seeker
one.
Mastermind
Sorry.
Alliance. That is the TSMA, True Seekers Mastermind Alliance, with the RDDC, with myself, Hector Rivera, and Miss
Lexus T, revamping and improvement every single day. Boom. Of the Real Double Dose channel. And flip the switch as well.
That's right.
Yeah. Flipping the switches on life. Flipping the switches on life. I know.
Let's go.
I'm excited about this. So Heck's going to roll us into this. If you haven't had well, you're probably seeing us here, what we have in our attire and our attire on soon so we can blend in with the days that come along. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, let's get this going with the hashtag God Ain't Broke Part 2. Yes.
That's right. So let's go. So this is going to be, if you haven't looked at the intro already, this is going to be the conversation when it comes to talking about money, right? The kingdom of heaven and the relation to the economy, the riches, the brokenness, right? The brokenness that they call it. The, what people seem to look at contradictions, what people seem to look at just completely outside of God's aspect, but bringing it together to look at the truth. Right? Because we look at the truth. That is the whole point of this. Taking God outside the box that people so love to put him in for their own personal understandings. So, wherever it is that you're tuning into this on, please have an open mind, have open ears. He who has ears, let them hear.
Open hearts,
and
too.
Welcome to the Alliance. So,
For the Truth Seekers. Yes, let's get it. All right. Let's end this. Let's get this in to the intro so we can know where to go and the intro. Sorry.
Wrong word there.
But every day. Remember that little
thing. We are here now.
Not implying anything, everybody. Just calm down.
Not implying nothing.
Chocolate chip cookies, all I'm talking about.
But welcome. Today, this episode, we don't even actually have a title for it. We just kind of...
Well, we had hashtag God Ain't Broke Part 2.
I guess that could be part 2.
All
right. So the last one was the intro. This one, we're going into it. This one is going to be, and we want to focus this episode more so around a certain parable in the Bible, a certain portion of the word. And that's Luke chapter 16, verses 1 through...
All right, let's open that up.
So we can pull it up right now if you got the privilege of having your Bible in front of you right now.
Or your pause.
Listen to it.
All right.
And if you don't have that privilege...
I want to hear, because I love hearing parables. I do, especially with Jesus, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. It's like one of some of my favorite chapters. I could read those over and over all day just to get closer to this being in the mind of Christ even more. Oh.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a reflection of you. If you understand where that comes from, it's not a religious fanaticalness or anything else in that. And I'm trying to break that structure out of the box, because it's like once you realize it's a part of you and the blueprint from the Creator's seed ascending in a whole different light of another part of God. Let me like now we're rejoining where we came off from, like that's what we shared in the glory. What? We shared?
What?
So I'm excited about it, like even more. So yeah, can you read? I mean,
let's go.
Okay,
and if you're in the part of the world where it might not be so disclosed, maybe turn this down a little bit, so nobody will hear us reading this to you. But you won't get in trouble, right? We still want to make sure that you're...
Well, at least you're standing up for what you're trying to know more of and believe in. Exactly. We salute you.
That is one of the biggest things.
Let's go.
Blessings. But this is chapter 16, verses 1 through 16. It is the parable of the shrewd manager. Okay, so Jesus told his disciples, this is the NIV version, by the way.
Okay.
There was a rich man whose manager was accused of wasting his possessions. So he called him in and asked him, "What is this I hear about you? Give an account of your management, because you cannot be manager any longer." The manager said to himself, "What shall I do now? My master is taking away my job. I'm not strong enough to dig, and I'm ashamed to beg. I know what I'll do so that when I lose my job here, people will welcome me into their houses. So he called in each of his master's debtors. He asked the first, "How much do you owe my master?" 900 gallons of olive oil, he replied. The manager told him, "Take your bill, sit down quickly, and make it 450. Then he asked the second, "And how much do you owe?" 1,000 bushels of wheat, he replied. He told him, "Take your bill and make it 800. The master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than are the people of light.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourself, so that when it is gone, you will be welcomed into eternal dwellings. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? Oh, that's actually just what we talked about, right? And if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own? Mm. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. The Pharisees, who loved money, heard all this and were sneering at Jesus. He said to them, "You are the ones who justify yourselves in the eyes of others, but God knows your hearts. What people value highly is detestable in God's sight." That's exactly what we were just talking about in the last episode of the whole shift of the value system that we hold in our hearts, making sure that we move it to understand that there's so much things more valuable than these worldly wealth, right? And that's why we also got to go to the understanding of what it says when Paul talks about it. For the love of money is the root of all evil. People try to contort that so many ways and say, "Oh, well, if you have money, it's evil. If you have a lot of money, it's evil." It's the love of money. It's the idolization and putting that as your priority, making that the number one thing in your to-do list pretty much. Because look at Solomon. Solomon, whenever he had the choice to have anything he could want, he chose wisdom, and through that wisdom, that's where the riches came. Through the value that was added unto his life of being able to lead, being able to have the discernment and, of course, the wisdom to be able to make decisions and properly lead his brigade, properly lead the kingdom that was handed to him. Through that, then the wealth came inevitably.
Yeah.
He didn't love it because he
Yeah.
would have said, "Oh, I want all the wealth in the world," right? So it's very crucial, and I love that parable. I know you got a couple things
Well,
stewing up
I
in
don't know.
you.
I mean, I love that parable too. I mean, like for certain things that hit it, it makes sense for a lot of those when it comes down to, I guess, you know, the business part of it. Mine is more of a, I don't know. Like your take is saying what exactly? Like you believe in the too much is required. Okay, like the talents kind of giving, right? The talents kind of concept, right?
I look at it, so I was referencing more so the end portion of it, but the actual parable itself, the way I look at it is making sure. Okay, so because one of the other the other portions that I read it, I actually read it in the KGV version, and it said basically making friends that gain through unrighteous ways. So we can learn from these people of the world. We can learn from people that gain in dishonest ways. We can learn even from them. So always constantly have an open mind, because there's people out here that go and they just go and look at someone such a way where they're like, "Oh, you're not living a righteous life. You're not living the way God intended us to live. I don't have anything to hear from you. I can't learn anything from you. Just, hey, repent, believe in God." And that's how, they come at them, and it closes off their mind of understanding and that growth factor, right?
Mhm.
But we can still learn from these people. We can still learn from even people that are living in the most putrid ways, because there's always something to learn. Even people that are so committed to idolization, we can learn from them, right? Well, like I mentioned about John Ramirez. If you haven't heard of John Ramirez, he was a ex-Satanist warlock that he was just so devoted. He would literally go and spend hours and hours and hours, literally a third of the day, half of the day, just sitting there and praying to the devil, going and astral projecting over cities and just casting spells on people. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Yeah, it's bad. But the fact that he was so committed and devoted to it, to spend that long, when we don't even want to give God an hour, we don't even want to give God 2 hours. We give him an hour a week, go to church, and we're like, all right, God, I'm good for the week. We'll
If
see
they're
you next
even
week.
paying attention for that hour.
Yeah, right,
But you think
right.
about the dedication of what you just said. That is true. We give,
Learning.
a lot of people give, not we,
Mhm.
that devotion to their, and it's almost saying, hey, stepdad. I know the evil stepdad will say, right? That stepdad.
Yeah.
I know that if I commit myself to you, you have something given, trickled down. Because in order to believe in the
Mhm.
devil, you have to know that there's God. But a lot
Mhm.
of people don't want the narrow road. And the narrow road is just the ideology that the big, large road is the fun one. When we hear fun road, do what you want, whatever, no rules, just do what you want. But the narrow one is keep yourself whole, keep yourself clean, keep yourself upright, keep your mind, because it's a longevity path. Because we could always go to the drive through and get something quick to suffice the appetite with over processed things that trick our minds and our bodies into believing it's a meal when our cells and our core is still starving. It's the flavor mechanisms. It's the taste that has been altered by the chemicals to let us know this is what is triggering in you. But when you start transitioning over to natural, even fruits and vegetables without the organic factor, you start saying, tastes a little bitter. Oh, where's the sweetness? Oh, where's this? It's like it's not calling unto you. It's calling within. You think about that. Food was not designed for consumption. It was designed for understanding, download, knowledgeable, even from the first fruits that were given. They didn't need food to
Yes.
sustain. Think about it. They didn't need to defecate. They didn't need to urine. They didn't need to sleep. They didn't need to have all that. But I do believe from that point on, they were going to die in the aspect, I believe, maybe it would have been 5, 10,000 years, but we don't even know if they lived a million years before that happened, right? But they were never going to get to a point to where it was like, oh, I'm gonna live forever. No, because the tree that they had to eat afterwards, the fruit that they had to eat afterwards was like, hey, let's stop them before they wind up living forever like this. Because obviously from that point on, you didn't get a chance to be shut off. And I wonder why. I mean, that just gets my mind right. Why the devil couldn't eat from that tree? Must have been guarded from it. Or maybe it was from the flesh of the breath being given in only for the human part of things. I don't know. Anyhow, I digress. No, it's fine. I lose my thought because my mind gets on there, but I would just have to say, ultimately, I look at that too. When people might say, "Oh, well,
You
what
just
do you mean I should have money and get friends, and then you just tell me not to worry about what people think of me? How am I, from that passage that Heck was just reading?" And it's like, no, it's good to be kind to those, because I noticed even in my day when I got a chance to leave tips for people or do stuff, when I came in and I just didn't order anything or do certain stuff where I was in those realms with the Claudie factor. I went there and I was like, I'm okay, Johnny, one of the people that were there at the table. And he always served me and he said, it's okay, I got you. And I was like, man, I don't have enough money, right? It's not important what I was ordering, but I didn't have enough money. I was just like, kind of tight right now. I didn't want to order anything because I wouldn't have been able to leave him the chunky tips that I did before. And I remember that night and a couple other nights, he said, you know what? You, out of all the people I see, which are a couple hundred every time around this time, or at least a good 150, they always leave me pennies, right? Even though I hook them up or not, just leave me pennies. But you are the equivalency of 50 of those customers. I can just bag out for the night just off of what you give me for an hour. So here, I'm gonna hook you up. Here's your tray. Here's your stuff. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, look, It's okay. And what did I do? I came back and I doubled up on him again, even though he didn't ask for a payback. It's like I instinctually knew, right? I instinctually knew because I'm tapped in to the God force. No, it doesn't matter about profanity. Doesn't matter what I ate last week, if it was Chick-fil-A or chicken nuggets. It doesn't matter about all that. We're still in the flesh, and we're never going to overcome it unless we die in many different ways. Die daily, remit ourselves. The flesh has to be disintegrated to give us a new body and being. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't want to stay in this body. I'm telling you, from the aches and pains. You can might think you're the best guru gymnast out there. You wake up with aches and pains. You might think you have the best nutrition and all that. And guess what? People I know who have the vegan lifestyle, slender, all the stuff that they say check off. My loved ones are dealing right now with the breast cancer. Never been around anything they say to stay away from. But there's people right now that I know who are in their 80s still smoking cigars, eating all kinds of crazy stuff and doing what they do and still walking away with a smile. So it really comes down to where you're at with it. Now, I did like another passage in here, but I'm going to let Heck take that over. This conversation while I look to that passage because I really like it. I don't know if it has context, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Because I mean, I was looking at it too. The way it was dishonest what he did, but he still utilized the position that he had. He utilized the position, the shrewd manager, right? He utilized the position that he had to gain favor, to shift how they saw him, and basically helping people out. And I've seen that, and there's this one judge. It reminds me of that one judge that is just so nice. I want to say Judge DiCaprio. I can't remember his first name. I don't know if he's got a first name, but that one older judge that he just goes and he always pardoning people speeding tickets, actually conversing with these people and seeing them as humans. And even some of the times he goes and they come with child to the courtroom, and he calls up the child and he asks them, what do you think I should charge your mom? Should I give her $20 or should I charge her nothing? And a lot of the times the kids go like $20, like they always go for, they're always trying to charge up their own parents. But even that way, in the position that he was placed, it was a blessing so that he could bless others, because ultimately he is.
Absolutely.
So in that way, he just blessed so many peoples, and he does it just out of what he was taught, out of the kindness of his heart, out of wanting to do it,
The
not to go and
compassion,
ask for favors. Yeah, compassion. Just
when you said that, though, it's powerful. When you see it enough, you see enough. When you've grown enough, you're around what you have to be around. Yeah.
And yeah. He actually he's got a really good story. I want to see if we could. Hopefully, we can get him on one time, man. That would be awesome if we could just get him on.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be very cool.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone's ever had him on anywhere, anything like that. Interviewed him, nothing. But
that's another JV secret. I'll let everybody else on. How to have conversations and win friends with those you never thought knew you existed.
That's right. That's right. But utilizing these positions, because it still talks and it wraps up by saying we can learn things from these managers. We can learn things from these people that do it in dishonest gains. And that shrewd manager, obviously he did it to find favor in these people, to find favor in the relationship with them, to go and, okay, well, I'm doing it out of selfishness in a way because I'm going and I'm cutting you slack so you can pay me back later, so you can let me enter into your home later. Right, so he did it from a position of desperation in a selfish way. That judge, he doesn't do that. So we can go and figure that out because it says just like the prayers, right? Whenever Christ talks about the Pharisees praying in public, the Pharisees going and basically yelling to the world that they are fasting, it says, truly, I tell you, they have been rewarded in full. They have already gained their reward. And they're looking for people's approval in the same way that shrewd manager, he went and gained the favor of the people, right? And we got to do it to gain favor from God. We
Yeah.
got to do it because it's principles that we're taught. Love others as God has loved you, as it says in John's, or it says in Matthew, love others as you love yourself. Doing it out of love, real love, godly love, not the point of selfish love, right? Selfish manner of being
Sorry.
that
Right.
that the world just loves to teach, right? Oh my gosh, you make me feel this type of way, so I must love you because you give me this emotion. You make me feel like this, knowing they're not doing that person right. Knowing it's selfish to hold on to that person, and that's what they love to depict in movies. It's not real love. So doing it with the proper standards of how God intends us to live and putting those positions and those roles out of wanting nothing, that is how you become greater in the kingdom of heaven. That is how you store your treasures up in heaven.
I'm biting. Listen.
I
mean, I like that, but at the same time, for equality is, we can say that. I guess for my rebuttal will be, I can say that. Through what I've seen throughout my decades here on this earth is it's always mostly a one-sided factor. When you come in wanting nothing, it's still, just remember, everyone, you're going to feel a lot of emptiness, a lot of feelings where you feel like it's not fair. It's why am I doing this? And you got to actually know the truth between someone just milking the heck out of you, not versus hell, but just milking you, or like literally don't know a direction, so they just come off like a very heaviness. And at the same time, you have to know when to pull back and slack off from that as well, because you realize there's other hungry elements out there that need what you have, that God gave you the inertia for, to do as you need to do. Now, the passage I wanted to read, I'm not sure if it correlates here, but I just want to read it out of curiosity. I like it, and I just want to see what it says. So don't judge, okay? But we can all learn something from whatever it said. So I don't know where it fits in, but you just sludge it here. Now, I was getting excited about this, but it says, I don't know, what is this, John? No, is that John? This is Luke chapter 16, verses 19. And it says, there was a rich man who was clothed in purple and fine linen, and who feasted sumptuously every day, and at his gate, I'm sorry, was laid a poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores. I'm get on that leprosy conversation. Who desired to be fed with what fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, even the dogs came and licked his sores. The poor man died and was carried by the angels to Abraham's side. The rich man also died and was buried. And in Hades, contextually here, so you could, in Hades, being in torment, he lifted up his eyes and saw Abraham far off and Lazarus at his side. And he called out, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, right? And send Lazarus to dip the end of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am in anguish in this flame. Okay, Luke 16, chapter 25, or verse 25 says, but Abraham said, child, remember that you in your lifetime received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in anguish. Okay. And besides all this, between us and you, a great chasm has been fixed, in order that those who would pass from here to you may not be able, and none may cross from there to us. And he said, then I beg you, Father, to send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, so that he may warn them, lest they also come into this place of torment. But Abraham said, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. And he said, no, Father Abraham, but if someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent. He said to him, if they do not hear Moses and the prophets, neither will they be convinced if someone should rise from the dead. Now, we can get into the secondary part of that. I'm just saying, I had to turn my lamp on because it's getting a little dark over here. Just wanted to make sure we could see that, just in case. But when I look at those things, I would say it almost went into the context of what you were just saying.
No.
Sorry, your name is so hard for me to say on here. Just heck, it's not my normal conversation. We understand, but I mean, it's the same thing you were saying about the richness of having that. Like he was to the point where he was like, "Look, no, like go about your way," and it also shows something about death. Abraham and the prophets and Moses aren't dead. That's not necromancy. That's another conversation for TSMA. It's letting him know that if you might not even reap the best things on this earth from doing good. You may never see the riches that you think you should acquire, but you'll always miss your riches if you never realize how rich you were and how rich you are. You'll always miss that. In some way, there's some talent, there's some gift, there's something that you are so outbound in that no one will ever have what you have. There's a talent. Talents can be given to the next, but it's never the origination of where the talent came from, what it was supposed to be for that unique person. Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I love that. I mean, maybe it was a little ensemble, but I think that was so beautiful. Cool me off. And please go speak to those so they don't fall in line. You're only warning them for the fact you don't want them to have what you are facing, but it's not for the fact that they'll change because of authenticity almost. Double entendre. Right. Think about it. Go help them. What do you mean? Moses, they have the other prophets. I'm here with him. This is who needed it. He's by my side because it was chosen to be this reflection of what you still died. You see, you still met each other at the same point, but one of you are at a different level. Your level there was high. You got your grasp on it. He had to die his suffering and you lived your high life and now you're dead. Oh, here, now ask Lazarus to help me out when I wouldn't even give him 2 seconds of my time. Okay, well, you're still here. Doesn't matter how rich or poor you are, baby. We're still landing in the same place. Now, that's just a lesson I could get from it. I'm just going to leave it at that. There's many, and I'm going to break that down. I'm going to break that down later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it's like, on one point, and that's where the question begs too, because, on one point, you could see that, and it's like they ended up in the same place of the limbo, I guess you could call it, right? Yeah. Where everyone is asleep. Everybody's waiting for that judgment day. Mm-hmm. But it's like, was that out of love? Was that an act of love? And does it count towards the things that are done, right? Because it says he was in Hades, and
he was in Hades. That's what I'm saying. He was in hell.
Right, and even that, he was able to have a conversation, and it's really good because it goes to show us too, like, we have that knowledge of where we're at. We have that knowing of the detrimental feeling of being cut off from God to the point where we're like, we don't want people to feel it. And I believe it was out of love, because it's like, okay, well, I know they all looked up to me because I was the one in the highest position, quote unquote, in our bloodline, in our family. Please warn them that I am telling you this is not right. Please allow.
Because he could have been under the understanding of, hey, this is rich here, rich there.
That's
what, you know what I mean? So like, there's just so many double cuts, but at the same time, it's still showing no matter how rich you are, you have the choice of kindness. You have the choice of love. You don't have to think rich is Snoopy. You don't have to live like that. You can be smart about your money or your other riches, material, but did you have to shun him away like that? But now you think, oh, I didn't know better. So, hey, babe, I cheated on you. I'm sorry. Or, hey, honey, I went out and had a drink with a guy. I just went out to eat. I'm sorry. At the time, I didn't know it was a wrong thing. But then when it's done to you and the other time comes, it's a whole nother cusp, or to the point of where you're like, oh, I missed 4 days of work. And the job manager saying, hey, we lost revenue. Well, just give me another chance. Should you fire me or should you keep me on hold? Well, I don't know. You're such a liability at this point. Then it's also a test and a feature to be like, hey, well, if I do this to you, that means everyone that does evil unto someone else should have that roll call. We have to make examples out of people. And back then, I'm sorry. If you want to go to GTO or whatever, GOT, different things going on, Game of Thrones, whatever, referencing. You had to make examples. People didn't like Daenerys, right? Or why she have to kill off the lineage. For her and her rightfulness at the time of this movie, I'm just saying example purposes, I have to make an example that I will not tolerate. I'll give you an option to choose, quote, the right that I see or the wrong that it is, in her viewpoint, or whatever, but you only have a choice. And you make that choice. That's what it is. at the end of the day, I can look at that story from the king. Now, he gave the robber, if you haven't heard the king, I've said it in different episodes, where you get to a point to where you don't know what's going on. And ultimately, you blanked out. That kind of freaked me out for a minute. But I'm saying, like, the king could have let the king gave the guy a choice: leave and face unknown, or stay with.
The firing squad.
Yeah, your audio really changed. Wow. That was pretty good. Yeah, face the firing squad. So I'll just put it that way and leave it like there for now and see where it happens. But I don't want to prolong what we have right now because we do have other itineraries to get a hold of and things that we're doing. But this is a part 2 to that hashtag God ain't broke and the riches and stuff like that. And I don't want to say we're cutting it off just for time's sake, because it's also about getting the message out that God wants us to have, but it's also preserving what we need to have the platform set up for that. We're going to be having a lot of wonderful people come on this platform, different conversations, different interviews, and so forth, so we can get many perspectives. And hopefully by the time we do this, We Are Not Alone part 3 or 4, wherever you're listening to this to, we can have some cool things that we see to kind of give you more depictions of what we're talking about with Nephilim or stories or different things going on, because it is a part of the world. Watch as well as pray. So it's different things that we can look out for on those conversations. But yeah, Mr. Heck, thank you for hanging out and having this conversation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
For having me, right? But no, thank you all for joining us, being a part of the Alliance, being a part of this wonderful journey and growing with us, right? Making sure that you have that open mind to be able to take God out of that box, to be able to have the true walk of oneness and relationship with God, to understand that it really is no limit to God, to how we perceive him, to the foundations that are true, and how we can grow on those foundations, because people are so scared to build on these foundations because of what we are taught. People are taught, okay, you have to lay a foundation bigger than the house, and then the house has to be small. When in reality, whenever you have a tree has a trunk, but it grows outwards and upwards. And that's the type of foundation that we need to have.
And that's something how the roots grow down and the top grows up. The roots above. There's actually roots above. Those are roots of the branches above that are screaming out to the elements, creating the oxygen in the sun and the nutrients in the dirt below. That hooking on. What do you need that for? Because honestly,
the conversation that we gotta have about the
anything
trees.
that's not, anything. Hey, did we have some deep stuff about that? Didn't we? We had some deep stuff about that. I mean, it's a whole thing. But I just want to leave it off to say with my last peas and carrots. Understand that kindness is a choice, love is a choice, and necessarily think of yourself as, if this were me, which it is, what would I do? Well, Lex and Heck, I can't spend $1 on every homeless person I see out there. I can't do that. I got to make sure I take care of my, yes, but kind words turn away wrath. And that could be, hey, I am sorry. I don't have a penny to give you right now. I might have a piece of bread off of this bread loaf I have. But I just want to tell you that it's going to be okay. And the next time I see you, it's going to be better. Why? Because you have the God of all things around you. You have someone who sees you and what you're going through. So just have that and go through what you're going through. Oh, he's so tired. He can't even pay attention. So at the same time, go through what you're going through. You can still leave seeds of richness just like that. So.
Amen. Absolutely. That's how, the kingdom of heaven, bear fruit of the kingdom of heaven. That's right.
We love you. You're amazing. But, well, sorry, go ahead.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So you took the words right out of my mouth. So,
feel the passion, embrace the power of the spirit, remember who you are, what you are, know yourself, love yourself, grow within that self, and trust the process. And we'll see you
on the flip side.
Love, peace, and blessings.